Welcome back, Glenn.
Thank you.
Back from D.C.
Interesting week.
I bet it was.
Interesting week.
Yeah.
Learned an awful lot. I got to go up there at least every quarter. There is so much going on. It is moving so fast, and you get a completely different perspective when you're actually there talking to the people that are moving the pieces. And I had a lot of conversations that I can't divulge on the air. I can't say. Unfortunately, I was with the president yesterday, and it was absolutely incredible. And the thing I was most excited to share was his heart. It was amazing. Did the interview, went into the Oval Office, and he left me alone with my wife in the Oval Office for like 5 minutes. Now he was lucky I didn't go through the drawers. I look at the side. Where's that little hidden puzzle piece that I saw in National Art? I mean, he left us alone for 5 minutes. Nobody's left alone in the Oval for 5 minutes. And he walks in 5 minutes later, and Tanya was so uncomfortable. She's like, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to, what do I do? And I'm like, they said, make yourself comfortable. So have a seat wherever you want. Probably not behind the desk, but have a seat. And so we just go around, and I was alone with the Declaration of Independence. I mean, it was incredible in the Oval Office. And he walks in and he said,
Any part of you think, maybe I just kind of put this, fold it up, put it in my pocket, maybe nobody notices? None of that?
No.
None of that? Yeah, darn it.
But this is the second time I've been in the Oval Office. The first time you're a little overwhelmed. The first time you're just like, because it's a magical place. It really is a magical place. And so he walks in, he's like, nobody said that. And I said, I'm well aware of that.
He said, nobody what?
Nobody sits in here without the president or without, somebody else.
Right. Yeah.
And
I gotta imagine that's really rare.
I said, I'm aware of that. And he said, but I knew you'd want to look at everything. So I thought you'd be more comfortable if you were here by yourself. And I'm like, oh, it was fantastic. So we sit down, we talk, we go do the interview. And while we were talking in the Oval, we were conversing about a few things, and he said, and Abraham Lincoln came up. We were talking about, he is well-versed on the presidents. He is becoming a historian. He really is. He's really done his homework. And he said, you a fan of Abraham Lincoln? And I said, yeah. And he said, ever been to the Lincoln bedroom? And I said, no. Want to go? And I'm like, wait, of course I do. Yes. Let's do this interview.
A lot of people don't know that I'm a painter, and I gave up painting because of demoralizing pain in my hands. I was losing hope. If pain keeps you from really living, I urge you to do what I did. Try Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free supplement developed by doctors. It's safe to take every day, and it has helped me and so many others. You can try their 3-week quick start right now, $19.95 at relieffactor.com.
So we do the interview, and I'm told he only has 40 minutes. Now, we've just eaten 10. And so we do the interview, and his aides are cutting us off. And I'm like, I got at least 10 more minutes of questions. And so we're getting cut off. And as we stop, his aide says, sir, the National Security Council is waiting for you. And he says, right. I'm going to take them to the Lincoln bedroom first. And they're like, the Security Council is meeting right now. They're waiting for you. And he said, let him wait. I'm going to take him up to the... So he takes us the longest way possible. He takes us through the entire White House, room by room, shows us all of the meanings behind things, all of the amazing things that, like, nobody knows about the White House. Takes us to the basement, which is not really the basement. It's the actual first floor where all of the guests come in and they come up the grand staircase and everything else. But it's the basement. And he's walking through and he's showing me a troll. First of all, he goes, I got to show you these paintings. I just see this painting of Laura Bush and Hillary Clinton up on the wall. He said, I walk by him every day. And I'm like, this is not right. And he said, and then I got this painting of me. And it's, me, the flag face, looking really kind of tough. And he said, I thought I'd put it between the two. And it had just gone viral. Okay, he had just released a picture of it, just gone viral. It was a troll. The guy is just trolling. And he's like, yeah, don't you love it? I just think this works. This trio really works. And I said, can I get a snap of that with you? So we take this picture, the two of us, on the ground floor of the White House with this. This is the tour goes by this every day. Okay. All of a sudden this thing goes viral and the memes start to be made. But JD Vance, in the pictures, people just started changing all the pictures behind us. So this is a meme before, going off, before we finish. And then he takes us, upstairs, takes us through all these things. And the aides keep gathering. There's like 20 of them now following us. And I keep hearing, sir, the National Security Council is waiting. He's like, I know. And so we get up to the executive residence. And the reason why he had to do this tour is because you're not allowed in the residence and you're not allowed into the Lincoln bedroom without the President of the United States. It's the only one that can do it. You can't, Melania couldn't come down and do the tour. It has to be the president. And so he's like, I'm sorry. He's telling them, I'm sorry, but, rules are rules. And so he takes us up into the Lincoln bedroom. It was the most incredible thing it's like, it's a time capsule. It's really his bed, which is about 6 inches longer than like the big king size bed. It might have been longer than a California queen. It was very narrow. It was like, obviously, he's not like Hugh Hefner. It's just a very narrow bed, but very, very long. The mirror on one end was extended to, for somebody who's like, 6'9", I think. Barron could use that mirror. And then on the other side of the room is a writing desk. And it on this one table were all these things about his son, Lincoln's son, who had died. And this really eerie picture of Lincoln, this painting. And the president said that was his favorite painting of himself. And it was spooky almost. And I couldn't take a picture. You're not allowed to take any photos in the Lincoln bedroom. And I was so bummed because I couldn't wait to show them to you. But there's a writing desk, and on it is the Gettysburg Address, one of 4 of the Gettysburg Addresses, because Lincoln was at the Gettysburg and said, Mr. President, that was a great speech. Do you have a copy of it? And he said, sure. And he hands him the speech. And he said, here, take it. There's a New York reporter, takes it, types it up, and then throws it away. So during the war, Lincoln writes 4 copies of the Gettysburg Address. In the 4 copies, only 2 of them say, this nation under God. 2 of them don't say that, and we don't know why. But the one there says, this nation under God. So it's just almost like a spiritual thing. We come down and we're ending the tour, and I said, I have to ask you. I said, I know you're Donald J. Trump, but now, what do you think I'm going to ask? Because he cuts me off there and starts to answer. And I was amazed that he knew what I was even going to ask. What do you think I'm asking? I know you're Donald J. Trump, but.
It could be anything, obviously.
He said every day. And that's the right answer, but I still didn't know if he knew what I was talking about. And I said, every day? And he said, every day, Glenn. I wake up every day and I say to myself, I can't believe I'm in this house. He's still humble about it. He still, he respects that place. A lot of the, well, he didn't tell me this, so I don't think I signed anything about that. No, he didn't tell me this. So the word is that Hillary stole a lot of the glass doorknobs at the White House. Okay. That's the word. Don't know if it's true, but stole a lot of them. he came in and he redid all of the doorknobs, and they are beautiful. This guy has put serious money into the White House, and he's never going to get any credit. And, the rumor was on those doorknobs that they were going to take them out. I don't know if they did on Biden, but, they don't want any of the Trump stuff in there, and took out the doorknobs. But he's poured a ton of money upgrading that house, and he'll never get credit for it, but he deserves it.
So you were able to go through all of this and look at all these incredible documents. I mean, this is kind of like your fantasy league life, right? Like,
oh my gosh!
Every document you could ever want, every piece of history you could ever want to look at.
Oh my gosh!
You would spend no time actually being president if you were president.
No, I wouldn't. I don't know when this guy has time. I really don't. They told me some of the Secret Service guys said he's here, middle of the night working on stuff. He's, he'll do full day, and then he's there, like, who's up at this hour? It's him.
Interesting, because that's not the way the media presents him, right? They say, oh, he's just watching TV. He's watching Fox News all day.
There's no way. This guy has learned so much. There's no way I had a conversation about history with him 5-6 years ago like I did yesterday.
Interesting. So you notice a difference.
Oh, huge. His learning curve is straight up. Absolutely straight up. Straight up. And in the interview, there's nothing. I mean, I could have said things. Remember the nuclear triad question that he was hit with, where he didn't really know what the nuclear. There is not a question I can ask him where he doesn't know the answer. Literally. I mean, everything I ask him off air or on air, he's there. He knows it. If it's happening in the world, he knows it. I don't know how he keeps up like this.
It is I mean, his energy level is impressive. There's no doubt about that. Especially, I mean, I don't know. The bar was set pretty low the last 4 years. But that's been one of the things that I don't think there's ever been really much a disagreement on. Like the fact that, I mean, we did, years ago, we went around with candidates around Iowa, for example, just in campaigning. And it was like, gosh, by the end of the weekend, I just wanted to sleep for a week because it was just so much running around doing. I mean, can't even imagine what it's like to be president of the United States. He's always got that energy.
He's always energized. I mean, and I saw him. I mean, when I got onto the plane last night, because I know he went from my interview directly to the National Security Council, and then by the time I'm sitting at the airport, there's a video of him meeting with the people that were in the lobby waiting for him, all of these veterans, and he's doing stuff with veterans on TV. I mean, the guy is just boom, 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 boom. Remember Joe Biden was like, he'll have some pudding.
Yeah.
And
a pudding and a lid.
And that's it. Mm-hmm. This guy is going nonstop.
Obviously, we're just kind of setting up the main course here, which is your interview with him that airs on Blaze TV tonight.
Yeah.
It was last night. I watched it on Blaze TV last night. It airs on YouTube tonight. Is that I'm getting the order wrong.
Yep.
But, you guys went into
everything,
every topic. Any questions he didn't, you didn't think he wanted to go to or wasn't comfortable with? Was there anything he was off limits? Anything like that?
No. He was joking with me. As we was going across the hallway, he said after the interview, he said, "Now try to be kind to me." Well, if you don't, I'll just say he's over. He's worthless. So do whatever you want. But no, there was nothing. In fact, we wouldn't, and we didn't give him any indication other than it was, about the 100 days and everything that has gone on in the last 100 days and are coming. And so that's pretty broad. He said a few things, and I'm going to give you one of them here. We were talking about the tariffs, and I said, how do you negotiate when you have a group of elites like the WEF, when you have China who's against you, and the World Trade or the World Economic Forum, all the elites in England that are they're fine with a Great Reset. How do you negotiate with people who don't mind blowing the whole thing up? Listen to this.
I don't have to negotiate. I'm talking to people out of respect. but I don't have to. So we're this giant store that people want to come in and buy from. We're the United States. We have the richest consumer, et cetera, right? But we're not going to be that way for long if we don't do something. But we're this giant store, and they all want to come in and they want to take our product. But to take our product, they're going to have to pay. And we'll either make a deal with them or we'll just set a price, because some countries are worse than others. Some countries have ripped us off really badly, and some countries have just ripped us off a little bit. But almost all of them have ripped us off because we've had really poor leadership. And what's going to happen is we're going to negotiate with, we are negotiating. We're negotiating with 70 different countries. We're negotiating, we're showing great respect. But in the end, we may make deals, but either that or I just set a price. I said, here's what you're going to pay for the privilege of servicing the United States of America. And they have an option. They can maybe talk to me a little bit, or they can not shop. You know, they don't have to shop at this big store, or they can shop.
Right.
But in any event, they're going to have to pay. Look, we owe $36 trillion for a reason. The reason is the trade, and also the endless wars, the stupid wars that we fought. We go into the Middle East, we blow it up, we leave, we don't get anything. And you're a big fan of exactly what I'm saying. I'm meaning, let's not do the stupid stuff.
Doesn't work.
It's stupid. Endless wars that they don't even want us. You know, we got into wars, they didn't even want us. So all of that stuff. You know, when I left 4 years ago, we had no wars. We had no Israel and Hamas. And by the way, it would have never happened because Iran was broke. They were broke. I had sanctions that were so strong on Iran. They were totally broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah. We didn't have Russia, Ukraine. That would have never happened, by the way. We didn't have the Afghanistan embarrassment, one of the great embarrassments in the history of our country. We didn't have any inflation.
I know.
Don't forget, I charged China hundreds of billions worth of tariffs. They talk about inflation. We had no inflation because that doesn't cause inflation. Stupidity causes inflation. High energy caused inflation. When they took over my energy, we were making it like nobody's ever seen. And then the prices doubled. By the way, because of that, Putin went in. If they kept, you see what's going on with energy now, it's going down.
Yeah.
It makes it much harder for Putin to prosecute the war.
It was fascinating. We talked about a few things. Judicial insurrection was one of them. Another pretty strong response on that one as well.